Welcome to our video lesson today. I'm Yonting, your discussant for today's lesson. Today, we will be talking about the current issues on language acquisition and learning, specifically the trends and updates. Let's begin.
The field of language education is changing at an ever-increasing rate. The traditional notions of education are giving way to newer, more innovative ways of thinking about how we learn, teach, and acquire knowledge. That is why we really have to keep ourselves updated with the trends. Again, we will be talking about the current issues on language acquisition and learning, the trends, and updates. Here are our objectives. At the end of the lesson, the mild students will be able to distinguish the current issues and trends on language acquisition and learning, compare outdated approach to the new trends of language acquisition and learning, and integrate trends and updates of language acquisition and learning in teaching. The term acquisition is used to refer to picking up a language through exposure, where the term learning is used to refer to the conscious study of the language. The term language acquisition refers to the subconscious or conscious process by which a language, other than the mother tongue, is learned in a natural way or tutored setting. Knowing the world is changing at a rapid pace, how we learn is changing. How we teach and assess learning is also changing. Old authoritarian models are giving way to gentler, more collaborative models. Students are as hungry as they ever were to be guided, coached, and mentored. Today's language classroom is vastly different from that of the middle to late 20th century. Here are some of the historical trends or the outdated approach that we have. First, vague hollow promises that cannot be proven. Well, today's students understand that lifelong learning is going to be the norm for them. The idea that learning a second language is a ticket to a higher level job or any international position is an outdated myth. Today, knowledge of another language is one of a number of skills which may help individual acquire meaningful employment, a better job, or a career advancement. Second, saying that learning languages is easy. There are ways to make learning languages fun or more enjoyable, but that does not mitigate the need for continuous and dedicated practice. Third, authoritative teacher attitude. Being authoritative or being authoritarian is already out. Next, complaining about cutbacks. Whiners do not inspire others or mobilize them to act. Leading by example is more than ever. That is the job of a teacher in the 21st century. And the last is the language labs. The purpose of the language labs was for students to gain auditory exposure to the language they were studying. This was considered a significant innovation in the mid-20th century, as it offers students the opportunity to hear the language they were studying in the voice of a native speaker. At the same time, or at the end of time, students had far fewer opportunities to travel. There was no such thing as internet. So these are the things which leads to our historical trends. Now, what's in? These are the trends of language acquisition and learning. We have clear provable demonstration of learning, frameworks, benchmarks, and other asset-based approaches to assessment, individualized, customizable learning-centered approaches, proving the value of language learning through stories and speeches, using technology for language learning or MAL, the Mobile Assisted Language Learning, CLT for communicative language teaching, and blended learning. In short, the focus of language education in the 21st century is no longer on grammar, memorization, and learning from the root, but rather using language and cultural knowledge as a means to communicate and connect to others around the globe. Geographical and physical boundaries are being transcended by technology as students learn to reach out the world around them, using their language and cultural to facilitate the connections they are eager to make. What do we mean by clear, provable demonstration of learning? Projects that challenge students to reflect and ask how they themselves have grown and changed in positive ways are definitely in. Sharing the results of those projects in public ways that demonstrate student learning through showcases, school days, and presentations to parents and community members are also up. Written work is included. Digital and multimedia project offers evidence of their oral and listening competencies. Well, when it comes to demonstration of learning, the students' portfolios are gaining popularity at a rapid pace. They are collaborative efforts between a student and a teacher that provide clear demonstration of students' progress and achievements. Students are guided by their teachers to develop their own portfolios over time. Using portfolios contain demonstration of their knowledge and authentic language use. So this is in. Frameworks, benchmarks, and other asset-based approaches to assessment. For language teachers, this means not focusing on verbs and vocabulary lists. It means recognizing students' abilities to understand, use, and produce language in a variety of forms, for a variety of purposes. Asset-based approaches using benchmark and frameworks are the new trend in language learning evaluation and assessment. So these are the questions that we need to ask. What can my students do? How do we help them grow from where they are right now? Individualized, customizable, learner-centered approaches. If teacher-centric instruction is out, then student-centered approaches are definitely in. Not only on the learning becoming more student-centered, but also student participation in the development of outcomes for learning is on the rise. While this may be unsettling for teachers who are used to exercising their authority to determine students' outcome, it's likely that the trend towards learner-centered approaches and student participation in the development of outcomes will continue. And this will showcase the students' individual talents, aptitude, skills. Proving the value of language learning through stories and speeches. Public speaking and presentation skills are enjoying in new levels, wooing students to communicate verbally. There is an increasing focus on the clear verbal articulation of ideas. This is being reflected in the field of languages as there is an increasing focus on articulate communication. Second language speech contests, debates, poetry readings, and storytelling are particularly trendy. Using technology for language learning, or the MAL, Mobile Assisted Language Learning. Network learning has empowered language learners today to connect globally, access resources openly, and self-regulate their learning processes. Emerging trends are now harnessing these enhanced dimensions of learning. Knowing that communication is central to language learning, students today want to learn a language not only to communicate, but also a means to find contacts, meet people, and establish partnerships. Mobile devices have pervaded our everyday lives and created rich environment for communication through audio, video, and visual text. Nevertheless, instructors need to know how to harness these resources optimally for language learning in an educational context. Blended learning is also in. Digital media with traditional forms of teaching, their course materials and resources reflect the trend. This way combines face-to-face teaching and online lessons and other combination of modalities of learning. Yes, basically, blended learning is one such learning opportunity for students. That way, it combines either 2 to 3 modalities of learning. This time of pandemic, we are all familiar with it because a lot of schools are practicing it. We are having this modular mode of learning. At the same time, we have the online. The combination of both is a good example of blended learning. Just in addition to the first 7 trend of language acquisition and learning, we have these methods adapted to improve spoken skills. We have group discussions. We all know what group discussion is. We also have role plays. Role plays are another important task that can improve the basic local English of the learners. And we also have debates. Debates too play an important role to improve the speaking ability of the students both at school and at higher level. So these are the methods adapted to improve spoken skills of the learners. To end, the teachers of the ELT are aware of best practices in teaching and learning English and how they can be made beneficial to the students. It is possible for every child to learn English in the most enjoyable manner if it is applied with the right kind of materials and pedagogy produced by one's own native wisdom. There is a case for a conceptualized field that is more learner-centered, more collaborative, and more technologically driven. The trends in language learning are moving us forward in such a way as to empower our students to communicate with others across the globe in real time. So I hope you have learned a lot of things today with the trends and updates of language acquisition and learning. Thank you very much for listening.